Well, good evening. Welcome to Grover Hill Zion United Methodist Church Thursday evening devotions from around the kitchen table. Hope you're enjoying this beautiful weather. I got up this morning. It was about 3:30, 4 o'clock. It was raining, but it's a beautiful day out today, isn't it? You know, what I want to share with you tonight is I was on the way back from Grover Hill this afternoon, and I had the radio on, listening to some of the news headlines, and I don't do that very often. It's the same old stuff, you get kind of bored with it. But anyway, I had that on, and I thought to myself, listen at that. How do you know if they're telling you the truth anymore or not? They tell so many untruths anymore. Leaving something out of a story is just as much as a lie as adding to it, embellishing it. I thought, how do you really know? How do you really know if what they're telling you is right or not? And I got to thinking about James, Jesus' brother, who was a disciple, but he also became a bishop. And in chapter 5, he writes, you have heard of Job's perseverance and have seen what the Lord finally brought about. The Lord is full of compassion and mercy. And above all else, brothers and sisters, do not swear, not by heaven or by earth or by anything else. All you need to say is a simple yes or no. Otherwise, you will be condemned. In other words, he's saying, listen, just tell the truth. Just tell it like it is. Be honest. And again, Jesus is teaching about taking oaths. It's part of the Sermon on the Mount. The Pharisees, they love to take all kinds of oaths. They like to look good in public. They really want to look pretty and the like. And Jesus says to them, beginning in chapter 5, verse 33 through 37, he says, "You have heard it said to people long ago, do not break your oath, but fulfill to the Lord the vows that you have made. But I tell you, do not swear by an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot make even one hair white or black." All you need to say is simply yes or no. Beyond this, it comes from the evil one. Just simply let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Be truthful. So what's he really saying to us? He says, when he says, let your yes be yes and your no be no, Jesus is referring then to the Pharisees that I said, they like to look good in public. They wanted people to look up to them, and they wanted to see all the ceremonies they went through and say, oh my, aren't they just wonderful? And so Jesus is referring to them in the ceremonious way in which the Jews, particularly these Pharisees, took their oaths. It was one thing in the culture of the time. Jesus was nailing it as an undesirable procedure because it was all about pulling the wool over other people's eyes. That is, the people swore these impressive sounding oaths, and the whole situation they were creating was thereby phony. They had no intention to abide by their oath. These oaths were just forms of words designed to impress. They weren't indications that the person swearing the oath had any power over things that the oath mentioned. It was just using swear words to impress and so produce acceptance of things in relation to the oath. When in fact this was relationally phony because the person taking the oath to impress didn't intend to keep the promises or the commitments that they were apparently confirming by taking some oath. They were just fooling folks. And Jesus said, in essence, don't let this foolery ever touch you. This fits really well into the context of the Sermon on the Mount, where you'll find this, because it's going after the Pharisees for their hypocrisies. And they were full of their hypocrisies. At every turn, they wanted all eyes focused on them and to see how pretty they were. Jesus is against hypocrisy in all forms, and he's for straightforwardness and transparency and honesty and responsibility in all forms. And when I was hearing this stuff in the news today, I thought, oh my gosh, doesn't it ever end? It seems today like the biggest lie seems to be what people fall for and what they accept. And they don't even question it or challenge it. Politicians, they're really bad about that. People in business dealings, they don't care about telling a lie. Some business people, as long as they get the upper hand. Well, in a world we live in, that's what they do. They like to fabricate reality. People in Hollywood create fake realities and make millions of dollars as crowds just flood to the movie theaters to experience this fantasy for a while. You know, the good guys always win, the bad guys are always defeated. People are always happy and beautiful. We want this in our lives, and we're always the good guys in the story. To be a good guy, we have to do a little fabrication ourselves, don't we? We bend the truth, cheat, exaggerate, fail to keep our promises, flatter for gain, betray confidence, make excuses, tell half-truths and little white lies. And is that really okay? You know, small lie will eventually lead to a big untruth. The most important commitment we have is to submit to the will of God for our lives with our hearts. With our hearts. Well, in Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 5 through 15, Solomon writes that it's better not to promise anything than to promise something and not do it. Because when you do that, you promise something and not do it, then you're telling a whopper. And again in Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 7, he writes, useless promises are like so many dreams. They mean nothing. They mean nothing. But you should respect God. You should respect God. We're just to be open and above board in everything we do. Well, I don't know. I hope that was helpful to you. I just heard that today, and I just wanted to say something. Have a great and blessed week, and enjoy this beautiful weather again. I hope to see you Sunday.